Well, hello Virgo, this is Joe with Divine Daily, and I'm going to do a quick check-in, what you need to know for the month of May 2020, maybe what you don't know. It could be pretty much anything that comes up that's for your highest good for you to know. This is a quick sneak peek. It's not a full reading. I'm going to pull some oracle cards, and we'll talk about those real quick, and I'll turn the camera down and point it down, and we'll look at the tarot cards and see where it goes. But a couple quick notes: you'll know this is for you because it'll make you feel something, and you'll just intuitively know, and you won't have to force it or stretch it to fit your circumstances. It just will, and you'll know it. Second, I don't read reversals in this type of setting usually because try to keep these videos as short as possible and just try to get out the message without getting into a very long reading. And also, if you've emailed me about readings, I'm pretty full up until into May sometime, almost mid-May, but I'm trying to get the emails as quickly as possible. Virgo, they're just, I try to sit and think and just kind of pull in what it is that comes to my mind, and before I start shuffling and going through the cards. And I was doing that before this, and I was trying to get a feel of what it was that you needed to know, or what might pop up for some of you in the month of May. And I feel like for some of you there's like this dividing line in the sand, like you've drawn a line and you are telling somebody that you can't cross this line. So I think some of you are really setting up some boundaries, and we'll see where that goes. We'll see how that matches up with what I get. First card out, all that glitters. Okay, so all that glitters is not gold. We all know that saying. Sometimes things aren't really what they seem to be, and these sometimes our hope and expectations fall a little bit short of what we thought a circumstance would turn out to be, or what we thought something would bring us. And so it's really not that great. It's not really as we tend to romanticize things sometimes to convince ourselves to do something. And so this kind of might be a reflection of that. We also have mending. So mending, mending relationships, mending, even quite possibly mending some things with yourself and forgiving yourself. But I did talk about that, drawing a line in the sand and setting up some boundaries so that you aren't being stepped on or taken advantage of. We'll pull one more of these, and we have peace, and this brings you an element of internal peace, because that mending, that action of mending fences with people, making amends, does bring an element of peace. Maybe a relationship wasn't what you thought it should have been or could have been, and there might have been some disappointment there for you. We're going to pull one of these also, and then I will point the camera down and we'll do a quick tarot reading, Virgo. And we have, furred and feathered friends. And so this was very much a Taurus thing here that I had in the last reading. And Taurus was very connected and grounded to nature, and it was this kind of like Snow White theme where the birds and the squirrels and the rabbits and even the snakes and all the critters kind of come looking for you, and it was just this kind of magical, enchanted kind of feeling. And you might be feeling some of that too. You might be feeling very connected to these things. Interestingly enough, my fiance, she's a Taurus, and she rescued a skunk yesterday and had it taken to a rescue. Its eyes were matted shut and it had some infection, something going on. But she I wasn't going to touch a skunk, but she did. She managed to kind of capture it and take care of it. It was going in circles in the road and couldn't see, and you know, she was so connected, and that was kind of a Taurus thing, but you are an earth sign, Virgo, so this might be a theme that is kind of playing out with you too, is that element of being really connected and grounded to your surroundings, nature, animals, could even be more of a spirit animal kind of thing for you too. So we'll see where this goes. I'm going to turn the camera down and we'll see what comes out. All right, Virgo, so you know, I talked about that mending fences here, that card that came out, and finding peace within that. And then we had all that glitters, you know, things not being what we had hoped they would turn out to be. But nonetheless, I also mentioned that I felt like there's this kind of boundaries, and drawing a line in the sand is what the words I used, but really setting up some boundaries and expectations of others around you. And then we had the furred and feathered friends come out, which was interesting because, again, that was something that was very prevalent in the reading for Taurus, although that card did not come out for them. That message came out in other ways. So we're going to throw a couple of quick tarot cards, and this again is just a quick check-in. It's not a full reading, and we did have a card here fall out. Let's see what we have. Ooh, we have the Five of Pentacles. So to me, that mending fences and that mending card here that came out, mending fences, mending relationships, to me is very much what that Five of Pentacles is about. There might have been some situation that you've had in the recent past or even now that seems like it's a little bit hopeless, and there might not be that feeling right now of a reconciliation, amends, or whatever needs to happen to fix that. But I think also this is about boundaries and speaking your truth, and you know, standing up for yourself, asserting yourself. I think that's very important. I think that might be one message for you. So if you have currently a disconnect with somebody, a relationship that has soured, I think that this is saying very much that that relationship is going to be mended. That relationship, there's going to be some amends made there, and it's going to be probably something that you didn't expect to happen. We have the Ace of Wands here and all that glitters. This necessarily isn't a reflection, Ace of Wands, of this card, but I feel like it kind of goes with that. The Ace of Wands is about that new spark of creativity, of taking action, new ideas. And sometimes we can get carried away with the thought of something and romanticize something just so that we can convince ourselves that we should do something. And I think that the Ace of Wands is kind of telling you to be careful in May, that some things may not be as good or as great as you hoped they would be if you do pursue them. And it's really saying to be pragmatic, analytical, and practical here, and be very careful about what it is you pursue in May that might seem too good to be true. This doesn't necessarily mean that something isn't too good to be true. It just means that be careful that you're not caught up in the idea of something and in love with the idea of something over what is realistic. And what else do we have? We're going to pull one for peace, and I'm probably going to pull a couple more. Okay, we have Six of Swords. So we have, there might be a point in this where in order to find peace, this might be a mutual parting of ways. So if you're in a romantic relationship or were with somebody and there's some kind of can we just be friends, or we can just be friends type of cliche, you might find that this is where things end with that mending, that making amends, or that just having a common ground, solving things, and just deciding to put things to rest. But it may also mean moving on, and it may mean a complete departure from that person, especially if you are setting up boundaries and there are just some things that you will no longer tolerate or put up with. because you value yourself. This is a lot about having value, and I think also there's some kind of feeling of like really needing to connect with a spirit animal or a totem of some sort, to really just look at some things around you and your surroundings. Some of you might get kind of an omen from an animal. You might get some kind of omen from some type of thing out in nature that just really sits with you as some kind of deja vu or some kind of weird coincidence. Although I don't believe in coincidences, but it might just have that kind of feeling about it. I'm going to pull one more for the Five of Pentacles here, because this mending to me and the Six of Swords just seems like, okay, are you going to be moving on from somebody, moving away from somebody once some things are resolved and there's some acceptance, and once there's some closure? Let's see. Oh, the Fool. So definitely this is moving on. So this is done and over with. Whoever you're mending with, whoever it is that you are resolving some conflict, this is done though. This is a departure for you, and this is kind of a farewell. I think you've probably already decided, if you're in this type of situation right now, you pretty much have made up your mind, and you're probably going to, in May, if this comes up where there's this wanting to resolve some conflict with the person, this is really saying that the conflict will probably be resolved and agree to disagree, or to make amends, to let things go and to move on, and just to try and leave things with, I did say, can we just be friends type of cliche. But what that really means is you're both moving on and you're both going separate directions. You, however, are starting out on a new path, and you are deciding to leave all of that behind, and that's where you leave things in the month of May. Finally, you have Three of Cups. So you might have some kind of almost like a reunion, or you might have some kind of coming together with some people that maybe you have been distanced from for a while. Maybe this person, if it was a romantic relationship, it kind of pulled you away from that. And so I think this is saying that there's going to be some kind of coming together, reunion, or just getting back in touch with some acquaintances, friends, family, anybody, whoever it is you've been distanced from. If you've been in a relationship that's kind of separated you from some things. I'm going to try and focus a little better, because I didn't realize that I knocked this out of focus for you guys. But anyway, so you might have this kind of coming together again. And I apologize, my camera, I messed something up here, but you get the message. So look for that. Look for a complete new rekindling of some friendships, relationships, and something of that sort in May. It definitely comes up for you. And then I think Virgo, you guys have a very kind of almost a similar, in a sense, reading, but both being earth signs, that doesn't surprise me, because there are a lot of common themes that run through readings, and a lot of common cards that just seem to kind of pop up at times. But anyway, with that said, I'm going to leave it at that. Virgo, I hope this makes sense for you. I hope you enjoyed it. If it resonates, makes sense with you, if it fits with your circumstances, always please leave me a comment, like, subscribe to my channel, share. Any of that I could appreciate. I always appreciate the feedback and could always use it. And with that said, you have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, healthy, happy, and we'll talk to you again. Thank you.